Do do do.
Oh, it's happening.
Do do do.
It's happening.
Is it working?
I don't know.
Sure looks like it's working. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
We have one concurrent viewer.
Hey.
And it looks like Facebook works too. Hey.
Everybody else.
All right.
Okay, so.
See, I'm not hearing Dan through mine.
You don't hear me? I'm right here.
We'll have to get you fixed.
Not coming through this.
Well, I'll get it working on it. All right, let's play the theme.
Let's
Hey, everybody.
play the theme.
All right.
It's Church Chat with Pastors Dan and Dave. Come hang out with us on our stream. It's Church Chat Wednesday.
All right, we made it. We did it.
Woo!
Woo! James over there, he did a lot of magic.
Oh,
and
man.
made it happen. You know, sometimes technology just doesn't love us.
No,
It-
there's,
it
like you said,
happens.
there's gremlins.
There's gremlins that
Definitely
sometimes
doesn't
go in
love me.
there and they just mess stuff up. But
Yep.
we are here. I'm Pastor Dan,
And I'm Pastor Dave.
and this is our Wednesday Church Chat with James Adkins over doing all of the miracle working and laying his hands on and praying for
Oh, my gosh.
the all of the technology things, and we've made it work. So glad that you could join us today on these church chats. This is just something we've been doing. If this is your first time with us, just to kind of have a way to communicate with you during this time of social distancing when we're not able to physically be together yet. Want to have a chance to be able to just fellowship with one another a little bit. So yeah, we've been doing these. You can catch up on all the greatest hits on our YouTube page.
We finally made it over 100, didn't we?
Yeah, we're over 100 subscribers. So,
Woohoo!
woo! So, I mean, the level of fame at this point is really starting to go to our heads.
Yep.
Hard to walk down the streets anymore. But we're trying to stay humble.
Yeah,
Try-
good
try-
thing there's a quarantine.
Trying to stay
Yes.
humble. Now, it's difficult to stay humble, though, when you have as majestic of a mustache as my good friend Dave Charles has over here. This is, so we're going to try to get a little bit of a zoom in on this. This is Mustache Watch 2020. It's coming in quite nicely.
She had her first trim.
Yeah. Oh, it's a she.
Yeah.
I didn't know that we assigned genders to
Well,
mustaches.
I think it's more of an expression.
Okay. All right. Kind of
Yeah.
like a boat is usually she.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I'm thinking.
All right. So, yeah. So, a couple things to note. It's getting longer. Fu Manchu style. We're going there.
Yep.
And you've got the soul patch
Yeah.
going on.
My goal, I'm thinking the dad from American Chopper.
I like that. So, I will say I'm a little disappointed you trimmed it. I was really hoping you were going to go more Wilford Brimley and just the big, long walrus.
Just in your food. thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the soup strainer.
Yeah, I'm good.
You're not doing that?
No,
What? So, you might have told us, what's Heidi think?
she has not mentioned it.
Does she know? Has she noticed yet that you are growing a mustache?
Well, she did say there's a lot of gray in there.
Ooh. Yep.
So,
All right.
but when Heidi and I first met, I had a mustache.
Okay.
So maybe
Maybe
I don't
she
know.
just doesn't know.
Heidi, do you like it?
She just doesn't know what to do with her feelings. Like it's just like when you were first married.
Nostalgia, yeah.
All right. So, on a little bit more serious note, talking about your family a little bit. We talked a couple weeks ago. Your family, there were some people who were being directly impacted
Right.
by COVID-19. So, how's everybody doing?
Yeah, my father-in-law, he is he still tested positive, but he's well enough that he is out of the hospital, and he was moved to a COVID unit at a nursing home.
Okay.
And so his symptoms seem to be pretty much gone. It's just he still tested positive.
Yeah.
My mother-in-law still just has had pretty mild symptoms,
Okay.
but she should be on the downhill from this. My brother-in-law is over it,
Okay, great.
so he's just fatigued,
yeah.
I guess. So,
Okay.
yep.
And nobody else tested positive or anything?
Nobody
like
else tested positive
Fantastic.
so far. Thanks for all the support.
Yeah.
we got a lot of prayers, a few cards and stuff. It was really our church family means a lot to us, so we appreciate you.
Yeah. So a couple other updates I think we need to give.
Okay.
The one that I know everybody is wondering about is how are the chickens?
How is
the Charles Ranch?
So I had to send the Spice Girls packing.
Oh.
Yeah, they all that would happen. I had to quarantine them, and then the big ones would get on top of their quarantine crate and just kind of bomb them all night long.
Oh, that's right.
And then I let them loose together. They just, if you're gonna be my chicken, you got to get with my friends. Got to make it last forever because friendship, it never ends.
That was absolutely terrible.
So I sent the Spice Girls packing. I gave them to a young couple.
Okay.
In Perrysburg area.
All right.
How are your chickens doing?
My chickens are doing really well. They've got a new enclosure thing. We let them run around the yard some. Really enjoying, all the scraps and stuff. They're getting to about the size where I'm expecting some pullet eggs within a month. So I'm getting excited.
I don't know what that means, but mine.
They're little eggs. They're smaller.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're like the first eggs are pretty small.
They're like robin eggs or something.
A little bigger than that,
Okay.
but yeah, smaller. Now they did get in my garden the other day, and I almost committed chicken homicide.
Yeah.
Chickenicide.
I understand.
Man.
Poultricide.
Poultricide, I think is what it is.
Good job, James.
So, but they're doing all right. The big excitement, though, for me that I saw today, this news just came out today, is that one of my favorite TV shows of all time is coming back, and it's Wipeout. It used to be on, I think, ABC or something like that. It's going to be on TBS now, which that's fine. New shows and everything. If you never watched Wipeout, it's basically it's a show that celebrates human pain and suffering.
Yeah.
That's all self-inflicted. They try to go through this ridiculous obstacle course, and it's so much fun. So I have now spoken 2 shows into existence during this quarantine. Shark Week, I wanted Shark Week to come back to give us something to do, and Discovery Channel brought Shark Week back for a weekend. So it wasn't the full thing, but it was good. And then now Wipeout, which is terrific. And so I posted that on Facebook, and now people are starting to suggest other things I need to speak into existence.
And that's what I was going to say. Our viewers, you should put that in the comment.
What?
It has to be a previously.
I didn't know I had these powers.
Right. So.
It feels like a big responsibility that I shouldn't overuse, because there's some things that don't need to come back.
Yeah.
If somebody says, like, family matters, we don't need Urkel again. That doesn't need to happen. We had him once, and that was fine. And that can just stay in the past, right? It can stay in the past. But, there's been some other... Now, it has to be something that has already existed once. So, like, my buddy Joe Hudak, if you're out there watching, I saw that you wanted a Browns Super Bowl spoken into existence. It hasn't existed yet. Right. So we can't... I don't think my powers work that way.
Yeah, well, that would be the end of times anyway.
That would be.
So
we don't want to usher in the apocalypse accidentally.
Right.
So we got to be careful here.
Yeah, we don't want to unlock.
I've also done this with Crystal Pepsi. If you remember Crystal Pepsi, it was clear Pepsi, and I thought that it would be fun for that, and so I put on Twitter at one point, bring Crystal Pepsi back, and it did come back for a very brief amount of time, because one thing I forgot about Crystal Pepsi is that it's not good. And so its comeback was short-lived. So, James, do you have any suggestions of anything I should speak into existence and bring back?
No.
Thank you, James.
Firefly was a good show.
Firefly was a good show. All right. So, yeah, we'll see.
My wife would say Little House on the Prairie. Where are we on that?
Little House on the Prairie. Maybe?
Okay.
That's a maybe. Who was the guy? Is that Michael
Landon?
Yeah. Highway to Heaven?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He had a sweet mullet, didn't he?
He had a great mullet.
Yeah.
So that's the excitement. Quarantine has really stretched us for entertainment. But one other thing I wanted to let you know about, just brief update. This is as much as we know right now. We get questions a lot about, so how long are we going to be doing this thing? We don't know.
Right.
We don't know how long the social distancing or any of this kind of stuff is going to last. And people are especially wanting to know, when can we get back to church? Church has not been like mandated to close ever during this time. It's something that we've done at the advice of the governor, the mayor, the bishop, our district superintendents. And I think most churches are not meeting for the safety of their parishioners, and I think that's great. We've been trying to look at, all right, what does it need to look like to reopen?
Right.
We got some advice from the bishop this past week, actually just yesterday, kind of targeting in some ways May 24th as a possibility.
Soft opening, maybe.
Soft opening. It wouldn't be a reopening of everything, and that date is subject to change. I think another thing that it seems like it might be subject to is how large of a church you have. You don't want to have, a smaller church of 20, 30 people, maybe not as big of a deal.
Right.
Gatherings of hundreds may be a bigger deal. So we're going to keep an eye on this. For now, though, we're going to keep doing these kind of things. One thing I think we do know is that it will look different when we come back. There's some changes that we'll definitely implement. We'll make sure things are as sanitary as possible. I'd be surprised if we do any sort of children's Sunday school, other gatherings like that. We don't know yet, but if we do it, we'll do it as safely as we possibly can. When it happens, and 24th or whenever it happens, it'll be as safely as we possibly can. And there might be some things like you might not have a greeter there to shake your hand or something like that.
And a couple ways it's affected us too is annual conference now is moved to September.
Right. Yep.
So our delegates, that's when we'll be going. Our mission trip, our youth mission trip to Cincinnati, we just conferred last week with them, and it's just, the date is just too close to all this, and so that's going to come off the shelf. But just like always, we'll figure something else out, something to make it special and special time together, whether that be some type of retreat or maybe another mission trip at a later date. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, absolutely. So another area that's going to be totally different for people, just as churches are different, are schools. Schools are going to, we know that there's no school for the rest of the year, and even going forward, I would imagine things are going to look a little bit different. And so our guest today is Ryan Imke, who is the principal at Findlay High School. And so we're going to call him up here in just a second, and just kind of talk with him a little bit about how things have been different. Obviously it's been different. Schools were one of the very first things to, that was kind of the big first thing of shutting down. Like, we got to shut this down. We got to close this. We're not doing this. And I know that's been a really impactful thing for,
Excuse me.
you all right over there?
That's like a cough sneeze.
It was a keys.
That was trying to hold back a cough.
Oh, gotcha.
Hey, by the way, I know I keep bringing us back to old stuff, but Holly did say cat dog would be a good one to speak back.
Oh my goodness, I forgot about Cat Dog. That was a great cartoon. Did you ever watch Animaniacs?
Yep.
Oh my goodness, that might have been a little bit after your cartoon time. Yeah. Animaniacs, for me, that was right in the sweet spot. That was some good stuff right there. I really, really enjoyed that. So.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and call our guest.
All right, sounds good.
And I hope everything goes smoothly.
All right.
Because I'm really good at this stuff. There we go. Let's
All
go
right.
get him on here.
Gentlemen, how we doing?
Doing great, Ryan. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right, hanging in there.
Hanging in there. Good. Well, it's great to see you today. Sorry for kind of the little last minute change in time and everything. So thanks for being flexible.
No problem.
So,
No problem.
Just wanted to chat a little bit today and kind of get your perspective on some things that have been going on. So, church is obviously shut down for the quarantine and everything. You guys, schools were one of the very first big things to have to say, we're going to have to shut down for a while.
Sure.
Just what was that like for you, that decision-making process? How did all of that go for you?
I'll tell you. First of all, I want to say to you guys, thank you for doing these things and finding ways to outreach to our community and even having me as an opportunity to come in and share. We appreciate that opportunity because our churches are such a big part of our community and keeping us strong during this time frame. So first of all, thank you for that.
Thanks for being here.
Without a doubt, this has been some challenging times for us. Those decisions, I know, for the governor, for the state of Ohio, were extremely difficult. But we always say our number one priority is for the safety of our students, the safety of our staff. And we appreciate him making those tough decisions to be able to come forward and make those tough decisions, even though it wasn't easy to do. We've been very blessed. Our teachers, wow, I cannot say enough about what our teachers have done to make that transition, seemingly overnight to going from in-person classrooms to virtual classrooms. We're pretty blessed as a district because we have our one-to-one technology in grades 3 through 12 was already in place. At the high school level, I can speak pretty clearly about our teachers had Google Classrooms, they had kids up and running, everybody had their own Chromebook. So at least that communication piece and a lot of that virtual type learning was taking place. But when you don't get to see your kids every day, that's not easy. That's not easy for any of them. But I know that they've been working.
So, obviously, this is a difficult thing. What's been some of the things that it's just been really kind of heartbreaking and really hard for you to see? And then where have been maybe some of the pleasant surprises that you've seen in the midst of all of this that have given you a little bit of hope?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I've always have been super proud of our teachers, but never more than now, just in terms of their creativity and their ability to use technology to reach kids. Certainly when you have, our teachers have up to 160 different students coming to their classrooms every day. And, when you get to see them every day, you're able to make some of those personal connections and be able to really find out what their needs are and meet their needs. But the challenging part is through technology and social distancing and things like this, how do you connect with those kids on a personal level? How do you go about meeting their needs? And, there's all kinds of stories, not just at the high school, but across the district about how our staff have still been able to connect with students, connect with families, meet their needs. Our district is still working very hard to provide families in need with meals now on Mondays and Wednesdays. But just the work that they've done to continue to grow and develop those relationships, really pre-K through 12, and too, having children of your own, it's pretty cool to be able to. The other night, my son was on a Zoom chat with his kindergarten teacher, and I walked in the den, and he's sitting there, and he got all these little faces up on the screen. Dad, get out of here! Dad, get out of here! And my wife is a teacher. She works at Jefferson, and I know her ability to be able to reach out, and she does Title I reading, working one-on-one with students on meetings like this to be able to read with them and connect with them and families. So I really think that, if people didn't know it before, they should know now how important our teachers are and the care that they give for children and the work that they do on a daily basis, not just for lessons, but just in general.
Yeah, it's cool that you get to kind of see it from a couple of different angles. You're a
Yeah,
principal,
definitely.
your wife's a teacher, but then you've got the kids at home, and you're
Yeah.
trying to
Oh
do
yeah.
that thing. And
Yeah.
same thing. I have a first grade daughter, and last night her teacher did she's been doing this every week, like story time
Mm.
at bedtime, and so
Oh, that's
all the
cool.
kids get their pajamas on and get a teddy bear, and then the teacher gets on there. So shout out to Miss Stoffel at Lincoln for reading some stories
Yeah.
to the kids for bedtime. It's been really really cool to
That's
watch
cool.
that. So
Just a couple of questions for you, Ryan.
Sure.
How is your family doing through all this?
We're hanging in there. It's the hardest part for us is we're a go family. My son plays travel soccer, basketball. I was coaching travel basketball at
yeah,
the time this started with his fifth grade team, and my youngest plays baseball and soccer, and we're just used to being go, and really just having to take a step back, and obviously we've taken advantage of some close family time and whatnot. But it's been hard for us to settle in and live the kind of that quarantine lifestyle. It hasn't been easy. Um, but that and Finley High School, that's part of our family as well, and having to work through some of those challenges has brought a lot of personal emotion, personal worry and care for our students, for our families, and for our staff. So certainly been some trying times, but I think we're going to be okay.
Great. Um, I know my family was very disappointed by this, and it's not to bring up a sore spot, but
Sure.
one of the questions that our viewers wanted to know is with the levy not going through, how do you think that'll impact things as far as courses being offered and staff next
Great,
year?
great question. I'm not in position to answer a lot of those, but I
Oh,
can give
sure.
you, certainly we were disappointed with those results. Um, I have, without a doubt, confidence that we can still continue to give a top-notch education to our students, to our families, to our community. I know conversations will be ongoing. I know that we're also not done. Prior to this, even they had to pass an understanding that in the event this did happen, we would plan to move forward with the next opportunity to be on the ballot again. So,
Okay.
um, certainly a huge shout out to the people that I know worked very, very hard to try and pass this thing the first time around. Our teachers, our teachers union, our support staff, families, really did a lot to try and make this happen, but unfortunately didn't. But I have confidence we're going to continue to still offer a great education and be more.
what would you just as a principal of Finley do?
Sure.
What would you say to the students, especially the seniors,
Right.
who are they're missing that graduation, they're missing this senior year thing. Just what is it that you want them to know?
I've tried to do a good job of staying in communication with our students, with our families. We've put out letters, we've put out videos. As a matter of fact, yesterday I called together a big group of our senior leaders, and I wanted to get some feedback from them in regards to some next steps and how we celebrate the great things that we do and they've done. Um, you know, uh, we did it through a Google Meet, similar to what we're doing here, and was able to hear their voice celebrations and athletics and music events and just a number of things. Uh, us, with support from the community, with support from our parents, we're trying to do as many things as we can. Um, to make sure that we're still celebrating them in the best possible way. We're still trying to put together our plan for graduation and what that will look like. We hope to have some information out by Friday of this week. We've received some pretty strict guidelines or recommendations from the Ohio Department of Education. Been in constant communication with Mr. Roth, with Mr. Kurt, Board of Education, as well as other area principals. Especially our league principals that are similar. And when we first started talking, our number one priority is safety of our staff and students. So how can we celebrate our students, but how can we do so in a safe manner? So we're continuing to put those plans together in regards to how we can launch a safe graduation and still celebrate our seniors. We did have to make the difficult decision, as I know many area schools and around the state did, to cancel prom.
Mm-hmm.
But that wasn't an easy decision, but it was one that we thought would be in the best interest.
Yeah.
There's just so many uncertainties right now,
Right.
and I, like many of you, we do all we can every day, and we're certainly feel for our seniors. I feel for all our students that had to end the school year like this, but also confident that while it's kind of been a bump in the road, that it'll be something that'll only make us stronger in the long run.
Did you have another one? I've got one last question.
Okay, I just wanted to say, as a household who's raised two Trojan alumni, and we have a sophomore this year.
Yep.
My family just can't thank you enough for all that you do, and we appreciate you, and you're in our continued prayers.
Yep, absolutely.
We certainly appreciate all that, and the community support, and I know the community support for our students, and especially and again, like I said, the church community is a huge piece of that. So we appreciate all you guys are doing. And I was thinking before I came on here, I couldn't think of a show that I really wanted to have come back on. But I have to tell you, when every night you're scrolling through Facebook and I see it, there are all kinds of good like homeschooling posts and all these, but Dan, I got to tell you, your class photo or school photo was probably the best one that I have seen yet.
Well, thank you very much.
That was pretty impressive. I was sitting on the couch and I showed my wife. I was like, "Oh my gosh, you've got to see this."
We've tried to, we've talked about. I feel like one of my jobs right now is to just how do we make people smile in the midst of all this.
Sure.
So, to our flag football team.
I think it's long overdue.
It's long overdue.
They tore down my old residence hall. They might as well just put a statue there.
Exactly.
I actually took my boys there, and we just put through the bikes in the back of the car, and they rode around campus and stuff. And yeah, I was sure to tell them about that amazing flag football team.
I still have my T-shirt from our championship win. I don't know if you have yours or not, but yeah. So this is 2 weeks in a row with a Bluffton Beaver.
Yeah, that's right.
Guest, so that's pretty impressive. That's great.
Yep.
Well, all the best come from there. So
Proud of them.
that's right.
Proud of them.
So Ryan, thanks so much, man. We are praying for you. And
God bless.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
Same to you.
Take
God
care.
bless. Take care. Bye-bye.
bye.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
Ryan and I were we were on some really stout teams at Bluffton, intramural teams. The guys who weren't quite good enough to play sports at Bluffton.
You're right. So you're
which is let's be
high
honest,
school
that's already-
starter-ish.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah. We had a good time.
Good.
Yeah. No, I appreciate, definitely what the schools have been doing. And so I know it's hard for them in the same kind of way that it's hard for us figuring out how do you do this now in a totally different way.
And I think everybody's handling it different. You look at my household. My middle son, he's this was his first year of college, and he's into fraternity, and he's into the student body, and this kid wants to take an extra. He wants to pick up a minor so he can have a semester back. That's how much he loves it. And then you have my youngest, who's like, this is cool.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm online with my friends. I'm making music. I'm building computers. Right. Just slide some pizza under the door every once in a while. I'll be good.
Yeah. I think that's we've talked about this before. Every kid's different. It's different at different ages. Every family dynamic is different. Our family, we're doing all right. Now, did find out that Holly's going back to work in the office starting next week, so it'll be me. And so Next Wednesday, you might see a shell of a man. It's hard to say, but we'll see what happens there. But I mean, so far it's been good, and actually, it's. I mean, we're almost to May. They're coming up to the end of this. The school year is going to be over.
Yeah.
Before you know it. So, yeah, it's. But I appreciate what the schools have done and everything.
But no, if you are one of those families that is, you know, it's a milestone, and
Sure.
And if you're one of those families who are whose heart is broken by this, we feel for you.
Yeah.
And pray for you.
I was talking with a mom this morning who her daughter was scheduled to have her graduation party at the church, and talking about maybe we'd do a drive-through graduation party or something. Like, you know, people are trying to figure out how do we still celebrate this.
Dude, it just dawned on me. Now, graduation season is like my favorite time of year.
Yeah.
Graduation party season. I usually whip on my maternity pants.
Yeah, you get the shredded chicken sandwiches and the cake, and
I just thought about that.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
I didn't
man.
mean to bring you down. But we wanted to talk a little bit today, kind of switching gears, but not really. We do try to bring something with some substance and faith substance of some
In
sort.
the midst of nonsense.
Yes, really around the idea of hope and just like what it means to have hope in a time like this. So I know that you had something that was kind of on your mind.
Yeah. This morning, what was yours?
Well, I'm going to ramble. So,
Oh, okay.
fair warning to everyone.
Well, I lost my scripture this morning, but it is basically Psalm 119, verse 5, and, you know, I have hope in God's word. And that's my question is, and my encouragement as well. You know, we are finding so much time to do all these things that we weren't doing before. Taking walks, and people are making videos. And are you taking time to be in the Word and to have some spiritual practices? Because nothing can give you hope,
Right.
like your hope in the Lord and your hope in Jesus Christ. And it can be just so refreshing.
Yeah.
5 minutes a day in the
Right.
Bible, or as we were saying before, as we were doing our sermon series leading
Right.
up to the pandemic, because
Right.
we knew it was going to happen.
Yeah, we were fully prepared for this.
Yeah, five scripture verses a day. Give it a whirl. Nothing can feed your soul like that. And so, if you are somebody who's maybe going a little stir crazy, or
Yeah.
let's say you're having the time of your life, either way, I encourage you really spend some time with the Lord every day, and let's see where that gets you.
Yeah. As I was thinking about this, I was really kind of drawn to the words of Paul in 2 Corinthians 4. And he has just such an interesting perspective on the idea of hope that I think really fits for us in this time. He's talking about like just all of the really hard things that people are going through. That, I mean, and Christians are being persecuted, and you know, it's losing their lives for the things that they believe. And in verse 6 he says, God said, let light shine out of darkness, and he made his light shine in our hearts to give us the light of the knowledge of the glory of God in the face of Christ. Like letting that light shine in the darkness, that's who we're called to be as Christians. And then he has this other in verse 7, he has kind of this other way of this metaphor of looking at it. It says that we have this treasure in jars of clay, which this verse came before the band. I don't know if you knew it, but the band was named after the verse, not the other way around.
Okay, yeah.
I didn't know if you knew that.
I didn't.
But it says that, you know, we have this treasure in jars of clay. And, you know, it's from God. It's not from us. And so we're hard pressed on every side, but we're not crushed. We're perplexed, not in despair, persecuted, not abandoned, struck down, but not destroyed. We always carry around in our body the death of Jesus, so that the life of Jesus may be revealed in our body. And he kind of goes on saying, like, listen, hard times are kind of what we're made for. And our hope is not necessarily that everything goes back to normal and that everything becomes easy. Our hope is that the light of Christ shines in us. And so then in verse 16 he says, therefore we do not lose heart, though outwardly we're wasting away, yet inwardly we're being renewed day by day, for our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all. So we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but on what is unseen. For what is seen is temporary, and what is unseen is eternal. And I was, as I was reading that, I was really just thinking about whether or not we have hope right now. I think depends a lot on what we are hoping for. If our hope is that everything goes back to normal, that life becomes easier, that that we're able to get back into our church buildings on May 24th or whatever, then we might not feel like we have a whole lot of hope. But if our hope is that people come to know Jesus, if our hope is that we grow closer to Jesus, if our hope is that we're able to maintain relationships with one another and be able to shine our light into our community, well, then I have a lot of hope. Because those things are happening still. That's my goal. That's what I'm hoping for. And as a pastor, I think it's easy, and I was even talking with some other pastors this week, and we were kind of talking around these ideas, and everybody wants to go back to the church buildings. Everybody wants to, and that's great. But that's not my goal. My goal isn't to get back to Sunday mornings in the church. My goal is to make the name of Jesus famous. And for people to grow deeper in love with Jesus. And so that's not dependent on circumstances. That's not dependent on where we are worshiping or any of those kind of things. That's just my mission day in and day out. And so I think because of that, it's easier to have hope when we fix our eyes on not what is seen, but on what is unseen. When we fix our eyes on these things that are eternal and not temporary. So for me, and it took me a little while during this time to really put words to that, to put words to kind of what I was feeling, and I don't want to sound holier than thou or anything like that, but I do think it's an opportunity for us to kind of look at ourselves and how we're feeling and what our level of hope is, and then think about, all right, why am I feeling hopeless in this time? What's my goal in life? And it can be a reality check for us, and a spiritual check for us to say, man, maybe I'm a little bit more focused on, I want life to look a certain way so I can be happy and fulfilled and comfortable, or that things are going my way, instead of saying, hey, my goal is Christ and Christ alone. Like, that's where my hope is, and nothing else. So I think it can just be a little bit of a reality check for us. And
sure.
Sorry, sometimes I get preaching. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. That was awesome. No, I agree. I mean, right now, I see more of a hunger for spirituality than I've seen in a while.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And I think that's one of the good things that something like this brings about. And I really like the way that the bishop ended his letter a couple days ago. The letter about the soft opening on the 24th. And it was just kind of, hey, we've uncovered some really great things in this time of adjusting. Like, this was not plan A. We picked it up on the fly.
Yep.
And we've uncovered some really good things. And let's not lose that momentum going for, just because we get back in a church building.
Yeah.
Let's not go back to being complacent. Let's continue to be new and innovative, and like you said, to make the name of Jesus famous.
Yeah, that's what we're about. And that's not to say that we don't miss the fellowship and the being together, because we do. And in fact, one of the things we're doing, is if you're a St. Mark's person who's misses that fellowship time, we're going to do a Zoom call tonight from 6 to 8. And if you're interested in being a part of that, there's info. We sent out an email, but then you can just send us a Facebook message, whatever, and we'll give you the info for how to get on there. If you've never used Zoom before, ask a 12-year-old. They can help you out. And but it'll be a great time to be able to just see each other, and that's great. We want those. It's just not the goal, right? And so I think Paul, that's kind of what Paul was trying to say, is like, my goal isn't for everybody to be safe and everything to be, back to normal so that I can live in the suburbs of Jerusalem and have a nice 300-person church. And, like that. He's like, no, it's going to hurt. Life is hard and difficult. He's like, but the goal is something bigger. And so my hope, rests in Jesus and nothing else, and that's it. So I hope that that's where your hope is, and we want that to, so just work on, when you're finding yourself, and there's times where I'm down and I want to be, I want to be out with people and I want things to go back to normal, but what is your reason that you get out of bed in the morning? What's your reason? Like, what's your goal for the day? And for me, I find the more I focus on trying to help people see the love and goodness of Jesus, and I can make that my mission every day, then quarantined or not, can make that happen.
Absolutely.
And that's why we're here.
That's why we're here.
That's why we're talking to you today. So, anything else for the good of the order?
Just remember that we'll be here.
Yeah.
10:30 on Sunday.
Yep.
And then we are doing communion.
Yeah.
At 2:00.
Yeah.
At the church in the parking lot. Again, we're going to have the little sanitized individual communion elements. And just the way this will work, because last time it was, a lot of confusion. That was the first time we had done it. You pull up, we will give you the elements, and then you just pull right into one of the parking spots and have a little prayer, and you can take the elements on your own.
Yeah. If you need to take some home to family members, something like that, that's absolutely fine.
Yep.
Happy for you to do that. And yeah, just a way for us to share the sacrament together and be able to just remember what it is that Jesus did for us, and it can be a really special time. Also, make sure, especially if you have kids, but even if you're just a kid at heart, Spark Kids Online was just posted this morning on our YouTube page, so make sure you check that out, and we'll share the link on Facebook also, so you can see that. Make sure you do that with your kids, and we hope to see you tonight, 6 to 8. It's kind of come and go whenever you want to be there. Hop in on Zoom. And just love to hear a little update about how your family's doing, and be able to pray for each other and just see each other and say hi. So,
also, any suggestions on who to have in the future?
Yeah, we have some ideas, but we'd love to hear your suggestions, and we'd also love to hear what you want Dave to do with his facial hair. We want to know all of these things. So, James, anything else from over in your seat? Do any of the tens of people who are watching have any comments they would like to share?
I haven't seen many come through. Just the cat dog thing.
Dog, very underrated
right.
television show.
But I'll check. No, I think everybody has all their questions answered already.
Speaking of cat dog, now that there's like 2 people watching, I'll just. But I saw something this morning. Somebody posted that everyone's dog thinks that their owner quit their job so they can stay home and play with them because they loved them so much. And everyone's cat thinks this loser's finally been fired from their job. It's like, that's kind of funny.
True.
So, all right. Well, we're so thankful that you joined us. Sorry for a little bit of a delay at the beginning. We got the gremlins kicked out, and James worked his magic today, and we are so thankful for Jimmy over there pushing the buttons. You ever go by Jimmy?
No.
All right.
Not normally, but I sort of answer to whatever I'll answer to. So
all right.
If you get my attention, that's fine with me.
All right. Thank you for being with us. We love you guys, and we're praying for you, and hope to be able to see you soon. So until next time, we'll see you later.